Welcome to Keto Beyond the Couch. I have no idea what episode this is.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are two crazy ketos.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We are back from Elkhart. We left on, Friday?
Yes.
And we got home Saturday evening.
Thankful for
2 days of about 12 to 13 hour driving.
Traveling
including
mercy.
Buc-ee's stops.
Obviously, right? We have to include Buc-ee stops, but just thankful to be home safely. We're so thankful we didn't run into any snow, like driving, and we arrived home safely. Thankful for that.
So if you are new here, welcome. Keto Beyond the Couch is all about our subscribers. We do this every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern. We do it live whenever possible. And Keto Beyond the Couch is really just about celebrating our subscribers, their wins, their successes, as well as answering questions about keto and carnivore. So the way we like to do this is we're going to go over what we have pre-prepared. And then at the end of the last 10 or 15 minutes, we'll get into the chat. So if you have a question, hold off to the last 10 or 15 minutes or use the super chat function. When you do that, it's going to highlight our screen and we can answer your question right away. But we just love celebrating our subscribers. And before we get into it, I do want to mention that today's sponsor is Salty Provisions.
Salt.
We discovered this a few months ago. We actually have a review video on it, and we really enjoy this. This is a Norwegian flake handcrafted gourmet sea salt. And it is a really good finishing salt, like on top of your steaks, things like that. And they have all different types of flavors.
Yeah, they have a lot of different seasoning blends for pretty much anything you can think of. And some really unique ones, like their butter salt is probably my favorite. We have gone through like 2 shakers worth of that. But I also like this Chicago style. They have like a Wonderlust. They have a whole bunch of different ones that are excellent. Super, super clean ingredients. I'll tell you, just grabbing this Chicago one, it says it's got sea salt, celery powder, onion, celery seed, mustard powder, tomato powder, dill weed, jalapeno powder, pickling spices, coriander seed, bay leaves, cinnamon stick cloves, citric acid from lemon. So there's so much flavor going on, but it is all ingredients that you can say.
Yeah, we absolutely love it. And like I said, it's a great finishing salt. It's not something I would necessarily cook with, as far as if you're making a cake, use this.
Right.
But on top of your eggs, your steaks,
Very
even a
fancy.
little bit of a rub on some chicken or something like that. It's absolutely amazing. So there's a link here on the screen as well as down below in the description box. And when you use that link, you will save 10% off your order. We really appreciate you guys when you use our links. It keeps our channel going.
It really does.
And we do want to kind of start off with some kind of sad news. Well, very
extremely
sad news. But we talk about Keto Beyond the Couch is about our subscribers. We love to celebrate our subscribers. And the focus of our channel has been since 2018 or really 2019. It has been community. When we realized that we need community, so many of us are kind of shut-ins, or we've always been embarrassed to kind of look up because of our weight and we don't want to make eye contact. We've talked about that before. And for a lot of us, myself included, this community is all we have. I don't have friends outside of our keto community. When I talk to people like Chris Bear or Matt Franklin or other people or Andy, you guys are my friends. You are my only friends. And that is really important to us. And today we really found out what that means, because our very dear friend, a very, very engaged member of our community, passed away. We found out yesterday. So John Weiss passed away yesterday, and we are honestly just devastated.
We're just devastated. I'm sorry, but this is a precious man and a friend. So I was speaking with Lydia, his wife, this morning, and she wanted to share 3 things with you guys. Number 1, she wanted you guys to know that keto extended the life of her husband, that she is certain of it. He was going for an MRI this week because there's some other health circumstances going on, and they were trying to figure that out. And he actually passed away yesterday. It was their daughter's 21st birthday, and he was getting ready for a birthday party and had just an episode of weakness in the shower, and the fire department came to, get him to the hospital, and he actually coded on their front lawn, and by the time they were able to get him to the hospital, he had passed. But she was like, keto extended his life, gave him life to continue living and to be there longer for his family, which was very important to them as his family, to get more years with him. The next thing she wanted you guys to know was you guys were his family. She is an outgoing person, works outside of the home. He manages properties and works from home. And she was like, it was so important that they were able to go to the 2024 2KK cruise, because she was like, it was the one place where my husband was known. These were not my friends that he was friendly with. This was his friends that I was friendly with, that you guys were what he was most looking forward to waking up and speaking with every single day. He believed that you were his family, and he was counting the days until the 2KK cruise in October. And she just wished for him that he would have made it to October, because you guys were so precious to him, and he loved you, and he loved talking to you, and that he talked about you guys all the time, interactions, fun in the chat, just, it was precious to him. And then finally, she wanted me to convey that the one joy in all of this is that this is not goodbye. For John, this really is see you later, because of the hope that we have in Jesus, that we will see each other again. And that if you don't know that hope, we would love to talk to you about it. Reach out to us if that's something that you would like to talk about, because we would like to share the hope that John had with you. So we're broken. We found out last night, and we didn't sleep very well. And I'm going to miss my friend. But I told Joe this morning, if all that 2 Crazy Ketos was, if starting this channel and the miles that we've clocked and the good and the bad and the ugly that we've been through, if we did it for only John to find his people, if it was only for John to be seen and to be known, it is worth it. It is worth it. And so my prayer moving forward is, there are more Johns out there, guys. There are more people that are waiting to be seen and to be known and to be friended. Let us not give up this fight. Whether you are on keto or you're off of keto or you're doing something else, please stay for the friendship, for the community. And my challenge to you this week, and really just this entire month, is to stay engaged, to reach out. You think, well, man, dipping in Mighty Networks or the Facebook family group, like, it can't matter that much if I just say good morning. It can't matter that much if I follow up with something, and check on it. It matters. It matters to people. You matter. Your conversations matter, and they can mean the difference in somebody's life. I was, talking to Robin F. over the weekend, and, she had booked a mini cruise on the cruise ship, the 2KK cruise ship that we're going to be going on in October. She booked it before we booked ours to be like a looky-loo cruise. And, she's booking it like we were, that it's like, how can I be a blessing to this family? How can I be a blessing to this 2KK that I could go out ahead and make sure that I've looked out for all the fun to be had, all the nooks and crannies for people to be able to enjoy themselves to the fullest. And I think about the people that are going all in, for community. And what a blessing you guys are. So just know that you're loved, and that, when you're gone for a while, like maybe, life just gets in the way and you can't be as involved. It's okay. We totally understand that, but just know you're missed. You're cared for.
On that note, let's get into Keto Beyond the Couch, but we did feel that it was important to let you know because John really, you meant a lot to him. And this is why we do what we do. So our first actual comment is from Nancy.
Hey, Nancy.
Another very involved member in our group. So she said 3 years ago, January of 2023, I went to my very first keto meetup and met the amazing Two Crazy Ketos family. I was scared to death. I sat in the parking lot for an hour watching people go in the restaurant. Then I noticed Joe walked to his car for something. I realized this is either going to be the biggest mistake I've ever made, or this is going to change my life. This day has changed my life, and I will be ever grateful for Joe and Rachel and for the amazing friends that I have made through this meetup. Being involved in this community has helped us spread community into our local Central Florida Ketos Claremont area. This is where Sarah Joy and Matt Franklin and I had met and never, ever thought we would be leaders of an amazing group. Praise God for all that he has done to help us to continue to share our healthy keto lifestyle with others, and pray that others will reach out and start more local communities. Our goal is to share love, support, and encouragement to one another.
And Nancy is doing that thing every single day. I challenge you, she doesn't block you. Like, it's Central Florida Ketos Claremont, but if you are outside of Central Florida,
if you live in Ohio,
you can, join that group. And we're praying for traveling mercy for Nancy as she travels back to, see her mom and stuff. I know she's on the road. But the motto of that group is better together. And it's so true. And everything that she does, whether it's showing her food, how she meals prep for a long road trip, makes it affordable and sustainable as keto. She's showing her movement, walking around, and, continues sharing her story. Sometimes it's not easy. She's such a precious, shy young lady, but she's bold in her faith, and she's bold when it comes to loving others. And so I just appreciate everybody in this group that you haven't buried your talent, but whatever it is within your power to do, you've met us, you've interacted, and I hope that we've been a catalyst for you to be a lighthouse in your area of influence. Nancy has certainly done that. And I thank you, Nancy, for sharing this, that, that moment of decision where you're like, I wonder if I'm going to go ahead and plug in. Maybe I'm going to go ahead and make that post in Mighty Networks. Maybe I'm going to show up to a meetup or to a conference that's been, outlaid on lowcarbevents.com. Maybe I'm going to go to that thing, do it. Do it. It will change your life in a good way.
And Nancy is very heavily involved in our 2KK cruise.
Yes.
On the last 2 years, we decided that this cruise is not for us. This cruise is for you. This is not like a thing where we get together and we have a bunch of conferences like on the low carb cruise. We absolutely love the low carb cruise. We're looking forward to going on it and speaking it and seeing it. But that's not what this is. We didn't want to be another low carb cruise. We wanted a community cruise where our community could get together and really just hang out together. People like John. And so when we made that decision after the first time we did it, we said we wanted you guys to be more involved, and Nancy has just really taken that full force and organizes games and events and puts out her own money and brings prizes and everything. So there are still some few cabins available for the 2KK cruise. If you're interested, definitely go ahead and sign up before it's too late. I think we have about 10 cabins left. We have about 76 people going right now. And I will tell you, John will be sorely missed, but we will definitely be honoring him on that cruise. Next one we have is from Bill.
Hey, Bill.
I pulled a Joe today. I started pressure cleaning my driveway, paths, and house early this morning, and I didn't stop until the sunset. Here's what I've discovered. I had breakfast, I worked all day, and it had a huge effect on my blood sugar. I don't have diabetes. My blood sugar normally runs between 4.581 and 5.0, which is 90. I stayed well electrolyte hydrated all day, but I was shocked to see 117 on the monitor tonight. Lesson, stress has a huge effect on everything.
It really does. It really does. We talk about that a lot, but sometimes we don't work on that, right? It really, that the exterior stress and certainly even movement is going to, see those numbers go up.
And I will give you guys a little preview of this week's podcast. We're going to be giving you a 48-hour hack on how to get out of that stall, whether you are 3 weeks into keto or you are 3 years into keto. If you are in that stall, and no, it does not involve a GLP-1, but we're going to give you a 48-hour hack that is going to help most people. And I will tell you, as Bill mentioned, electrolytes, some of that is going to be your electrolytes and your glucose. Next one we have is from Amy.
Hi, Amy.
I was recently extremely ill and hospitalized with a rare GI conditioner called I'm not even going to try.
You're going to mess it up.
While I was ill, I lost 20 pounds that I didn't need to lose. Afterwards, I was put on multiple medications that all caused weight gain as a side effect. And boy, have I gained a lot of weight despite not changing my diet. I don't have a time frame for how long I'm going to take this medication. What do I do to avoid gaining more weight? Anybody have experience with this? I've asked my doctors and they have no advice. Just to clarify, I'm not asking for medical advice. So thank you very much for that last comment, because we are not doctors, nurses, or health professionals. First, here's what I want to say. I am not a medicine person. Rachel will tell you that even when I have a cold, which is very rare, even if I'm in a little bit of mild pain, like a headache, I am not a medicine person, because most medicines, especially like cold medicines, like NyQuil and stuff like that, they don't cure the problem. They simply hide
the symptoms.
Make you feel a little bit better. But sometimes that comes at a detriment to your health.
Sure.
But when you need them for a severe medical condition, something like this, please take your medication.
Yeah.
Now, if we're talking about something like metformin, and lowering glucose, or even statins,
or lifestyle change,
that's something different. But I'm talking about, like, if you have an infection, please take your antibiotics.
Yes.
Because infections could lead to a lot worse things.
Sure.
So that's one thing. I'm a person who, like, if you have a lung thing, first thing that they're going to generally give you is like prednisone or some kind of steroids. And then you think, that's going to make me gain weight. I don't want to take that. But no, please take what's going to help cure you. But as far as weight gain, the best suggestion that we can give you if you are on a medication that causes weight gain is really tighten your eating. If you're used to eating a lot of like keto kind of snacks or desserts, maybe during that time, focus more on a super meat heavy keto, almost carnivore. I'm not saying you have to go carnivore, but really, really tighten it up. Focus on the protein and try your best to get some type of movement in, even if it's like chair yoga. I mean, you can literally get a lot of exercise and work muscles without ever getting out of your chair, whether it be moving quickly or like just kind of doing arm pumps or leg lifts or things like that. But between really dialing in your food and focusing on the meat, maybe even dialing back the fat in that little bit of time, then that's what you want to do. And sometimes some of these medications, the weight gain is nothing more than inflammation in water. So I would also tell you to pair it with electrolytes to help flush out that extra inflammation.
Right. And I'm like Chris Berry. He's like, your priority when you're sick is to get not sick.
Yes.
Like unsick yourself. And so the weight loss will come later. So like the question that you can ask your doctor is like, how long do you think I'll be on this medication? So you kind of have a timetable goal when it comes to the medication itself. Like how long do you think it's going to take to kick this? But yeah, the priority is wellness,
Yes.
then we'll think about, you know, the losing of the weight.
Yeah. And again, it depends on the medication, but I want to make sure everybody knows, like, I'm not saying don't take your medication.
Right.
If it's a medication that's going to help you like get rid of a disease or something like that, that's one thing. If it's something that's just going to kind of mask symptoms and make you feel better, like a painkiller, that's completely up to you. For me, that is like a last resort kind of thing. And I'm kind of the feeling and belief of I'll just power through it. I'll just power through the cold rather than giving myself a bunch of sugar and stuff inside of NyQuil and things like that.
Right.
I will also tell you, if you do need to take some kind of cold medicine, like a NyQuil or a Dayquil, my suggestion is generally to, instead of taking the liquid ones, get the capsules, because at least it's a little bit less bad. There's going to be less sugar in there and less corn syrup and stuff like that in there.
That'll help.
Next one is going to be from Anthony.
Hi, Anthony.
Do they put hormones in chicken feed? Somebody told me they do.
That's a great question.
It is a really good question. And the answer is no, absolutely not. So in the United States, it is completely illegal to have hormones in, or any, I should say, extra hormones,
right,
in either the feed or the poultry itself. Now, we are not talking about beef or other animals. We're specifically talking about poultry. In the United States, it is illegal to give the chickens any type of hormones, whether it be through injection or through the feed. With that being said, chicken feed can contain natural hormones.
Alfalfa's got hormones in it.
Yes, but it is natural ones that come from plants, and those are called phytohormones. So, for example, soybean meal is going to have isoflavones. Alfalfa has cholesterol, and then grains have phytosterols. It's very, very minimal in the transfer of the eggs to the meat. And the levels are lower than anything that naturally occurs within hormones that are already present in the animals.
Yeah.
But again, it's not added hormones. It's simply what comes from the plants and things that they're eating. With that being said, I do want to say that there would be no reason at all to give chickens hormones. It just wouldn't make any sense at all. So here's the thing, like, people say, well, why do chickens grow so fast?
Breed.
And that really, really comes down to the fact that we have really mastered genetics and the way the chickens eat and the feed. So, for example, fun fact, in the 1950s, it took roughly 16 weeks to produce a 3-pound chicken.
But they've bred them differently now.
Yes. Today, it only takes 6 to 7 weeks to get a 6 to 7 pound chicken. So literally, think about that. It took 16 weeks to get a 3-pound chicken, and now it takes 6 to 7 weeks to get a 6 to 7 pound chicken. Like, they literally grow a pound a week. In the 50s, it took about 4 pounds of feed to get 1 pound of chicken. And now it's like 1.6 pounds of feed to get a pound of chicken. And it really comes down to, they've really mastered the art of genetics. Like, we're doing it here on the farm.
We are.
Even with
you're deciding what
chickens and what color the eggs are going to be. You take the darkest egg hen, and you take the darkest ones, and then you get a rooster, and then you keep just crossbreeding those to the point where you're no longer getting the eggs that are a lighter color. That's how they've gotten green eggs and blue eggs, by crossing different chicken breeds that produce different tints of color, and it results in that. We were talking about our pigs last night when we were looking at our different pigs sitting out in the pig pen. We're like, we're going to have to really think about what we want our boars to look like when we get them, because that will help determine what the babies look like.
Well, I mean, and I'm looking at 3 sisters, like Maggie and Daisy, and my goodness, Cammie. I don't know why her name just escaped me. They're 3 pigs from the same mom and dad, but Maggie is like a giant. And so that's going to come into play when we're deciding, how, who we made her with and what are those piglets going to look like. Hers, if you're trying to grow out a feeder pig, probably you want somebody from her piglets, right?
Yes.
Because she's grown out very fast, even though they're sisters.
They do
she's
it
much bigger.
Even in the Kuni, like we're going to be getting 2 more boarlings, castrated boars, at the end of the week. And so she's like, she has genetically kept crossing ones that seem to be larger as in a faster period. Everybody's getting the same amount of feed, but some just have different genetics where they're smaller. That's how we get some different toy breeds of dogs and things like that. And so, if you want a pig that you're going to grow out from meat, obviously you would like one that has genetics. They're going to grow out within a year to 15 months, as opposed to one that's going to take 2 years because of cost of feed and everything else.
So we were just talking this morning even about like Stacy Pattinson and Kenneth had so generously gave us some quail eggs for us.
Those are some of the largest quail eggs I've ever seen
to hatch out. And she has done they've done an amazing thing of like curating the perfect quail for them and for their needs. And we have found around here in our local area, because I think a lot of the quail are bred for hunting, like working with hunting dogs and training them. And also, people want like a menagerie of tiny animals. So you'll see a lot of bantam chickens, which, Joe will say that's a useless chicken because it's like a little tiny chicken gives you a little tiny
Polish
egg.
And bantams, all
very,
worthless.
Very, very tiny. But for somebody who's a meat eater and an egg eater, that's not going to be desirable to us, right? So we think more like Stacy and Kenneth, who have been breeding so that they have a good sized quail, and quail is another animal that grows out fast. They mature
6 weeks, meat or eggs.
So they mature quickly. So Joe was bringing home, we brought home the eggs. So thankful they all, made it home safely.
We only had 5 broken ones and they were delicious.
She packed them excellently, but there were like 2 that would not fit in the cup for quail eggs, because in her breeding, she's made a good size egg as well. But for somebody who eats the meat and eats the eggs, this is great, because a lot of times, you joke, well, you're going to need a dozen quail eggs to make an omelet. Not with Stacy's and Kenneth's.
Right.
With theirs, it was like roughly 2 quail eggs for 1 chicken egg.
Yeah.
Now we're talking.
Yep.
And you're going to be able to get eggs
in 6 weeks.
Right?
And it's posted 20 weeks.
So it's just amazing that, that's not something that you're trying to manipulate in a bad way. That is something that I believe a traditional homesteader would just do, right? Because you're trying to meet the needs of your personal farm.
So in the end, no, to answer your question, Anthony, there are no hormones in poultry or their poultry feed other than natural occurring hormones that come from the plants that they are eating. So don't worry about it. If it is something you worry about, go to a local farmer. Local farmers are not going to do it. They grow too fast. Commercially, they grow in giant things. So it would be very time consuming to inject all the chickens with hormones. And then it's literally, hormones are expensive. It is literally cheaper to just give them a lot more food. They will just eat and eat and eat. Like the chickens that are crossbred to grow fast, like Cornish crosses and kosher kings, they literally spend their entire day eating.
Yeah.
They literally spend the entire day eating.
So it's cute. Chris goes, Bantam Silkies are cute chickens, though. They really
They're
are.
still worthless.
They're one of those ones, because they had some, Chris and Miriam used to have some, the girls had some, and they always look like they want to, because their hair is like always in their eyes.
Next one we have is from Linda.
Hi, Linda.
Please explain about organic being a scam.
Sure.
So we talked about this
in the egg video.
In the egg video. So
watch it before you go to the grocery store.
Yeah. So now that we're going to talk about organic produce, not organic eggs. Again, if you go watch that egg video, if you haven't, I really encourage you to go watch that egg video and share it with everybody you know.
Because a lot of people buy eggs.
Stop these companies from scamming us.
Yeah.
Like somebody actually commented, like, I still think there's a benefit to cage-free eggs because the animals aren't in cages. They're not in cages per se, but they're literally like crammed together where they can't move.
Well, and we raise chickens. I'm going to tell you that.
And they're charging you $1 more for that.
There is a pecking order to things. And when a chicken is like, you know, whether you have them in a group of 1,000 or you have a group of 8, there's going to be some fights during that pecking order. Now, imagine if you are thousands of chickens in a single room and you can't escape it. Like they will pick. I have a feeling that it's not a great fun thing to live like.
My opinion is it's cage-free eggs, just not organic. Cage-free is a scam.
Yeah.
Because if you really care about the animal welfare, don't buy from commercial hatcheries. Literally only buy from local farmers.
That's the most important thing to you.
If it's that important to you, then buy the upper grade ones. Don't buy from commercial hatcheries.
Right.
Okay. So anyway, let's get to organic produce.
In vegetables.
In vegetables, right.
Vegetales.
So what does the label organic mean? It basically means that it has no synthetic pesticides or fertilizers. It doesn't have GMOs, and there's no sewage sled fertilizers. That's what the organic thing means. The thing is that most people think that organic means no pesticides, and that's not true. Organic things, and this is where I'm saying it's a bit of a scam, and also one other thing, but organic things can still have pesticides like copper sulfate and pyrethins and spinosaids. So it can have pesticides, and they still use pesticides. They're just not synthetic pesticides. There's also a lot of things that people buy, and they buy organic, but there's no need to. For example, coconuts.
Nothing's getting through that.
Nothing is getting through the coconut to inside of the coconut milk or the coconut. I would even tell you the same thing, like another one that's kind of questionable is avocado. Then there's other things that if you're going to buy organic, I would only buy. If you're going to buy of this vegetable or fruit, I would only buy organic.
Like a tomato.
Tomato, anything where you're going to eat the skin.
Mm-hmm.
Tomatoes, bananas, even though you're not going to eat the skin, everything that hits that skin gets into the banana. And we've talked about this in the past, that literally in the warehouses for grocery stores, they have a chemical that they spray on the bananas. And within 15 minutes, the banana goes from green to yellow.
Dark green to bright yellow.
So that's something. Spinach is the #1 piece of produce that never, ever buy non-organic.
Right.
With that being said, also, you should only buy from local places and not anything that's imported.
Yeah, because you've got to then the organic is no longer the U.S. standard of organic. It becomes, what does that nation call organic?
So it's partially true, but it technically, if the produce is sold in the United States with the USDA organic seal, it is supposed to meet the standards of the USDA natural organic program. The problem is most foreign farms are only inspected once a year. So technically, if we get something imported from like Guatemala and it's labeled organic, it's supposed to meet USDA standards, but their farm is generally only inspected once a year. Now, some countries basically have something similar to our program. It's called the equivalency agreement, where we don't oversee it. The USDA doesn't oversee it. Like, for example, maybe, I don't know, I'm pulling literally a country out of my head, right? Canada. Let's say Canada is growing produce. They will have an equivalency agreement where basically the country's going, we have something similar to your standards, so we are going to certify it, and then therefore it could be sold certified in the United States under USDA standard.
Mexico does not have that, though.
But Mexico does not have a full equivalency agreement.
We have a lot of stuff coming from Mexico.
The Mexico farms use third-party certifiers that are supposed to be approved by the USDA. The problem is, with that, the inspectors are paid directly by the farmers.
That's like Coke
so
paying for the sugar study.
There is a lot of fraud there.
That couldn't possibly be.
It results in a very inconsistent inspection quality. So the other problem with Mexico is you can have a farm that is selling organic things, but the neighboring farm is not. So there is a lot of pesticide contamination in the soil in the farm next to it. Like you can even look at us. Okay. So we have our farm, and then literally we are bordered up to our neighbor Mike, who has 15 acres, and the only thing that is separating us is a field fence. Well, he grazes his cattle over there. But let's say he was growing vegetables and he wanted to use pesticides, and I don't want to use pesticides. Well, we share the same groundwater.
Well, it's kind of like when we used to go to Miccosukee Bingo, and they'd be like, "This table is smoke-free."
Smoking on an airplane.
It's smoke-free. This is a smoke-free table, and you're like, "Is it like it got a magical force field?" Because I feel like I smell the smoke. We still have to burn our clothes when we're done with bingo, whether we're sitting at that table or not.
So, and then you have to add in the fact of most places spray. So again, if Mike were spraying his stuff,
have you ever been next to somebody?
Is it not going to come on my farm?
Have you ever been next to somebody that's spraying suntan lotion on their children, and now you are also one of their children because it travels? Like,
and it happens a lot. So in from 2017 to 19, they found that there were large shipments of grain that was labeled organic that came from Eastern Europe, and it was all actually conventional grain. But for 2 years, that was all sold in the United States under the label of organic.
People were paying more money for it.
That's why we say organic is a little bit of a scam. And there's not a lot of better health benefits. It's kind of questionable. I'm not saying not to have organic. I think that certain things like spinach, which is the most highly sprayed crop, you should get organic. You know, I would tell you go to a local farmer if you can, go to Amish communities or Mennonite communities if you can. But I will say this, and I know I'll get hate for this, but I will strongly encourage you, forget organic. Do not buy any produce from Mexico. The problem is Mexico imports a lot of the produce we eat. Berries, tomatoes, peppers, avocados. Most of that stuff in the United States all comes from there. So the solution is do what we're supposed to do ancestrally and eat only locally grown and in season. So if you live in an area, let's say, I don't know, Seattle, you probably shouldn't eat avocados.
Right.
Because they don't grow there. And I'll even give you within 300 miles.
That's a good.
Which is not exactly locally grown, you know, but I've talked about this in the past. Like somebody in New York, ancestrally pre-industrial revolution, really would have never had an orange. Because how are they going to get them?
Right.
So
it's a long walk.
It should be locally grown in season. I love mangoes. I don't eat mangoes because of the sugar, and I probably can't stop if I started eating them again. But even if I did, mangoes are literally in season for 1 month out of the year. So that means in January, I probably shouldn't eat mangoes.
Probably not.
And that's what ancestral eating would be. Okay, we'll move on. We ranted on organic long enough. Next one is from Candy's Critters.
Hey, Candies.
Thank you for filling in the gaps on my education.
Oh, how cute.
Whenever we go driving in the country, I'm scanning for egg signs. I have yet to see a place with yard eggs that's not pretty darn taking pretty darn good care of their chickens.
I agree. I think it's lovely. That's one thing that I was telling Joe, like this on our drive. I was like, we need to get egg signs. Like we have eggs here, and also like baby chicks for sale signs, because you know, a lot of times you reach out to like your local Facebook groups to make people aware, but I'm like, oh, you know what? I probably should let the neighbors on the next couple of blocks know, because anytime I meet a neighbor and they don't know that I have enough chickens necessarily to provide eggs for the community as well. And so they're like, oh my gosh, you have eggs? Like, oh, okay, let us know, let us know when the babies hatch out. We want some.
Let's take a quick fade to black.
Welcome back.
Okay, I did want to mention our good friend Jonathan Shane, if I can find the
yes.
Thing. Jonathan Shane has a product from Performance Games.
Yes.
And they have several different products like their Peaceful Dreams and different types of workout drinks and things like that. We've done review videos on them in the past.
Trying to find the exact sale.
So they are looking to do some new flavors and stuff like that. And in order to do that, they need to sell some of their existing stock.
So right now, every product is $24.99, and like I think this is going to be like the last day, maybe till Tuesday. So if you're interested in it, and then they're going to be reformulating and coming out with some new like pre-workouts and stuff like that. But if you're looking for a steal of a deal,
it is really good.
Go head over to Performance
Gains without taking energy drinks and things like that.
That's right.
I absolutely love it. Here's the cool part. Now, we don't make any money from Jonathan's products, but he is within the community. He is a great coach. If you use the code 2krazyketos, you get 5% off of the sale that they're having.
Might as well.
So they're having a blowout sale, and then you get 5% off on top of that. We do a review video of some of the products. Okay. Time for my annual rant.
Oh no.
So Carrie P put this up.
Oh no.
Time change this weekend. We are losing an hour of sleep again. Move your clocks forward 1 hour. The cows are not impressed.
I really thought we were going to get through this Monday without it.
Carrie. Thank you very much. We need to stop the time change. Everybody, please email, call
your congressman.
Mail.
I thought we voted on this already.
Get your congressman to all get rid of the time change. I don't care which one we do. I don't care if it's daylight savings time. I don't care if it's standard. I don't care, but we need to get rid of the time change. And some people will say it doesn't really matter. It's kind of like, when you get jet lag. That is not true. There is a lot of studies and documentation to show this, and I will just go over these so that encourage you all to get our elected officials to stop the time change. Daylight savings time. So we changed our time. For the next 2 weeks, 24% increase in heart attacks, 8% rise in strokes during the first 2 days of a time change, 6% increase in car crashes. This is all, they believe it is all because it's messing with our circadian rhythm. Going back to, once again, sleep and why circadian rhythm is so important. There was also a massive increase in depression and suicide, and it generally takes 2 weeks for our body to adjust to this.
That's awful. That is awful.
And it happens more in the spring than the fall.
Well,
because when you lose that hour, it takes it. For example, we generally get up about 6 in the morning. We didn't get up until like after 8 yesterday. And that had nothing to do. I mean, maybe some of it was driving, but we were home by 6 o'clock on Saturday.
Right. And we did well. We actually were well on Saturday.
Yes.
Like we did we did a lot, farm tours.
I drove 13 hours.
We got a lot done on Saturday. And then you're right, yesterday. And then yesterday I was probably in bed by like 6 o'clock. And then we got the news of John. And
that was like midnight.
And it was, and then we were up for most of the night. But like at 6 o'clock, I wasn't feeling great.
No.
And again, I had spent yesterday, I went to a craft show with Sarah G.
Right.
Like we had a lovely afternoon. We strolled down the historic district of Arcadia and then went to get chicken wings. So it wasn't like
it's the time change.
It was the time change. Yeah. It was totally the time change.
Okay, let's move on because we are way behind. Next one is from Russ and Peggy.
Russ.
This is today's topic. Peggy. I wonder if your body thinks sweet, no matter what type, you have a rise in glucose. Also, a lot of products hide maltodextrin, which is sugar. So the last part, yes, there's maltodextrin in a lot of products and it's hidden. We've talked about that a lot. One of the reasons we love Salty, Rachel's got a bag over there, is because their natural flavors does not have maltodextrin.
Joe's drinking a Salty.
Yeah, I'm drinking a Salty right here. See, Salty, 2 Krazy Ketos. But what happens is if it's within something like natural flavors, they don't have to put it on the label. And so there was a big controversy about that with Element because it was not on there and people figured it out. It depends on how much, but you'll find maltodextrin or dextrose as a binder or as a filler in things like Sweet and Low, powdered stevia. That's why Splenda has a bad name. It's not the sweetener itself. It's the fact that it's bound to dextrose. So yes, that is something you have to be careful. And if you don't understand about maltodextrin, it's worse than sugar. It causes bigger glucose spikes than sugar and a much higher insulin spikes. So to answer the first part, if your body thinks something's sweet, no matter what type, will you raise your glucose? The answer to that question is absolutely not. Absolutely not. You will not raise your glucose. And in fact, you could possibly have a slight, and I mean slight. This doesn't mean go think about donuts, okay?
Right.
Decrease. And that's so there is something called the cephalic insulin response. This is a real phenomenon. And what it is where your body releases a small amount of insulin if you taste something or if you smell something. So yes, today's thumbnail is a little clickbaity, but we are talking about it. So if you taste something, we're talking about even beef, okay? We're going to relate this more to sweet stuff, but if you taste or smell food, your body has a small insulin reaction.
Like, oops, stuff's happening.
This has been studied.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a very small reaction, like 1 to 3% of the insulin reaction that you would get if you actually ate the food.
Right. Because most insulin release happens after carbohydrates are actually absorbed.
Right.
Because that's where the real bang for your buck is happening.
Yeah. So the problem is with sweet stuff, if you taste it, if you smell it, or if you think about it, or if you see it, your body anticipates getting it. And so it has this very small insulin rise, which lasts about 2 to 10 minutes. The thing is that it also doesn't occur in everybody.
Right.
Okay. It's there have been a lot of studies about this, but basically what happens is your body will kind of think it's coming and it sends a signal in the nervous system through your vagus nerve.
Your vagus nerve, yeah.
And that basically sends signals to the brain, from the brain to your pancreas, to say, hey, there's something sweet coming. And so you should start releasing a little bit of insulin. So in their research, the reason they know this actually happens is the researchers blocked the nerve signal. And when that happened, the response actually disappeared. It stopped doing it. So that's something to think about. Now, the real debate comes from artificial sweeteners. The studies have shown like mixed results, that some artificial sweeteners trigger it, some don't. The one that triggers it the most is saccharin.
Yeah. But is anybody eating that anymore?
Sweet and low.
But I mean, like, does anybody eat sweet and low anymore? Like, I feel like
it's still in the stores.
I feel like there's been a concentrated effort to get rid of it, the pink stuff, for like ever, right? It's kind of like, go ahead, smoke that cigarette. Like, they've got it on the box. You know, it's like, I feel like of all of the packets, the one that everybody's afraid to reach for when you're making your coffee in public is the pink stuff.
Yes. So the other thing is that some people just don't have any reaction at all. So what's the end? What does the end mean here? What are you going to do? Never walk past the bakery?
Yeah.
Never smell bread? Never think about a cookie? Even if you're thinking about a keto cookie, you would still have an insulin rise. Okay. Or if somebody mentions it, you're going to think about it. This is not something I would really worry about. The only place that I'm going to tell you that you should maybe consider worrying about the insulin, the cephalic insulin response, would be here. You're in a 48-hour fast. You really want to really control your insulin. You don't want to really have any insulin rise at all because you really want to have a bunch of autophagy and things like that. Avoid sweetened beverages. And by I mean sweetened beverages, even something with stevia. Although most studies have shown that stevia does not have any cephalic insulin response, it also it happens in some people and not others. So you don't know if you're susceptible to it because we have no way to measure our insulin at home. So if it's something that really concerns you during a fast, don't consume something with a sweetener in it. On that same note, though, I would say if you are on a fast, you need to give yourself electrolytes. And if you don't like unflavored electrolytes, like unflavored salty,
use the
then
salty.
the sweetener ones are better.
Yeah.
If you just like, I don't like clean slate salty.
You could use the tablets.
You could use the tablets. But at that same note, I will also mention, by the way, I don't know if I had a comment here or not. Some very sad to say. I think JJ has a question about it, so we'll hold off on that. We'll just move on.
I was just going to say, I am more susceptible not to what's going on in my body if I think I taste something sweet. When you talked about like, oh, a couple minutes have to go by, like the 2 to 10 minute thing. Okay. Mine is more like when I taste something, it's not my body you need to worry about. It's my mind that's like, ooh, something sweet. Let's have like debauchery for the next 2 to 10 minutes.
I mean, that kind of stuff,
That's
just
the danger
thinking about it
zone.
could trigger you to want it. For example, I'm in the middle of watching Better Call Saul, and you know, his job every new season starts off with like a flash forward. And it's kind of interesting because Better Call Saul is supposed to be set before Breaking Bad, but the first episode of every season has a flash forward to what is his life like after Breaking Bad.
Oh, okay.
Okay. It's like kind of like signs of things to come. And his job after Breaking Bad is he's working in a Cinnabon. And every time I see him working in the Cinnabon, I think about like how much I love Cinnabon, right? It makes me go, I should go back and make my keto cinnamon rolls.
Well, it was funny because I see people talking about like surprising places where they do put sugar. And something that happened to me yesterday, I was in Aldi.
Salt.
Well, yeah, I know that there'd be dextrose in your salt. So check your labels for sure, no matter what you're buying. But yesterday I happened to be in Aldi and I turned over a package. They had a new line of different freeze-dried fruits. And the packaging was like pretty. And we have bought when we don't have a bunch of it made ourselves, because usually we freeze dry our own, strawberries or blueberries to have, because we'll like go to a U-Pick and pick them and then bring them home and freeze dry them, and they're lovely. But I thought, I wonder, what do they have here? And I saw that they had pineapple. So I turned over to look at the pineapple and it was like just pineapple. And I'm like, okay. So the same product line, they have strawberries. So I'm like, okay, pineapple's not really for me, but like strawberries sometimes I like. So I picked up the strawberries. I turned it over and it's strawberries and sugar.
Wow.
And I thought that is like really weird. Why are they doing that?
Sweet.
Yeah.
Next one is from Caprice.
Hi, Caprice.
It's getting closer to summertime, so I'm thinking about Keto Chow ice cream. I think Joe Stauffer said that we can't use butter for ice cream. I've used cream and I like it, but if I'm gonna spend carbs, I like to get more bang for my buck. Has anyone tried using egg yolks in Keto Chow for ice cream? I don't care about eating raw egg yolks. I do it all the time when I drink it, but I'm just wondering if they're closer to butter or cream when it comes to freezing. Does 4 yolks sound like a good number to try? I freeze in a Cuisinart bowl in a freezer. So number one, 4 egg yolks, that works. I've done it. Number 2, Keto Chow ice cream, you can absolutely use butter.
Yeah.
We do it all the time. Where you cannot use butter is if you're doing it in the
high cozy,
soft serve machine.
Soft serve machine.
But if you're making it in the
Ninja Creamy
or something like that, you can. What I would say with the butter, it becomes a little bit more difficult to do butter because of the way you have to do it. So you're going to have to heat up your water. You're going to have to heat up your butter. You're going to have to melt your butter. And then you'll have to put everything together. You have to make sure everything is warm and blend it very, very well. The place where it becomes more difficult to use butter is, again, it doesn't really work in the high cozy. I've tried. I just can't get it to work. It doesn't have enough fat for the freezing process in there, as well as if you make the Vitamix version. The Vitamix version basically ends up like wax pellets. We have a video on how to do it, but it's a lot of steps and not worth it. But egg yolks works very well. We've done that
and you're getting some extra protein.
Next one's from Sherry.
Hi, Sherry.
When they do a video for So Easy It's Rachel Can Make It, my response is it so easy that I can make it? Rachel has made things that were epic fails for me, but take my word for it on their Instapot recipe for yogurt. It was so easy. Even Sherry can make it. And I make a batch pretty much every week.
I am so glad, Sherry. I will say I am thoroughly enjoying the yogurt that we made in the dehydrator.
Right.
So that was I think their most recent video. If you haven't checked that out and you have a dehydrator, you might want to try it, because I'm not just enjoying the flavor, because it's, you know, it's got just a texture that comes out, but then also I'm enjoying the no mess cleanup.
Well, next one, that's actually one of the comments coming up. So JJ, this is what I was talking about. I am low and running low on magnesium capsules, and Keto Chow is currently out of stock. Are there any suggestions of what I can use until they get more in stock? I've tried cutting down on what I'm taking, but I'm woken up the last 2 mornings with leg cramps. So unfortunately, the magnesium capsules from Keto Chow have been discontinued. So evidently the manufacturer doesn't want to make them. The co-packer, they don't want to make them. They say it's too much of a pain, so they don't want to make them. So my suggestion would be this, and this is honestly what we started doing, because we lived and died by those capsules, because I do get leg cramps at night and I need a lot of magnesium. And I do not like the liquid magnesium because they taste,
it's pretty harsh,
like poop. They're pretty harsh. So here's what I would tell you: use even if you just put it in your mouth, but mix it in water. It's pretty plain tasting. Use Clean Slate or any flavor of salty. But if you just, I don't want to sweeten or anything like that, use Clean Slate. There's actually more magnesium in that anyway.
I know, mommy just was like, wait, what?
Yeah,
like
so
the magnesium.
You can use less.
Yeah.
So just use Clean Slate. If you don't want the sweetener, if you just want something at night, use Clean Slate.
Do they still have the drops?
They have the drops. They just no more.
So they have the drops.
But again, Clean Slate's got more magnesium in it.
Yeah.
And so that's personally what I would do.
We just wrecked mommy's day.
And also, it's a really good idea to be taking that at night anyway. Everybody should be taking an electrolyte about an hour before they go to bed. Next one is from Sherry.
Hey, Sherry.
I absolutely love your new yogurt recipe, and I'm super excited to try this method of cooking. I will make your recipe about once a week. It is simply the best.
Thanks,
so again,
Sherry.
This is making it in a dehydrator.
I love it.
And since we've started doing that, Rachel doesn't want me to make it in the Instapot because it's less cleanup.
It's
and
nice.
For some reason, it gets much, much thicker.
It's very custardy, though. It's like velvety and soft, and like, yeah, it's thick. I haven't had to like really drain it.
Yeah. Well, people have asked, you have to put it in a yogurt strainer. Actually, what you could do, if you really wanted to drain out some of the excess whey and still keep the no cleanup method.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say this.
Nut milk bags?
You can get some cheesecloth.
Nut milk bags.
Or you could wrap a nut milk bag around
nut milk bags for the win.
Rubber band it and hang it upside down. Like over a bowl. Like I could 3D print something. Like basically
some nut milk bags?
Find a way to put cheesecloth
nut milk bag
over the lid.
Say it.
Rubber band it and then elevate it over a bowl and turn it upside down, and that would strain out the excess whey. But still keep your in one jar, and you don't then need a yogurt strainer or anything like that. That's what you could do. Next one is from Cindy.
Hey, Cindy.
Tasty air fryer has a dehydrate feature. Will this work for making yogurt? Yes, but I'll put this in a video. No, I'm not even going to talk about the depth. You could use pint jars.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people like to make it in pint jars rather than the quart jars. I just only have quart jars.
And I'm eating a quart of it.
But pint jars are better because it's easier to get to the bottom, right? With the Tasty air fryer, their dehydrate function, everything's shows up at 150 degrees. So you can choose different things like, am I doing beef jerky? Am I doing apples? Am I doing pineapples? I forget the ones. I know there's apples, strawberries, things like that, but they all default to 150 degrees. You would have to go in manually change the temperature and time. So it defaults to 150 degrees for 12 hours. You would have to change it to 110 degrees. Maybe we'll do that in an upcoming vlog.
That's a good idea.
Next one is from Marilyn.
Hi, Marilyn.
A couple left. Wonderful podcast, Joe and Rachel. Makes such a great point about all of the movement that we don't have anymore because of modern conveniences we have.
So it was interesting. I was listening on my way home yesterday to a video talking about the difference between like the average families in the 1970s, and just some of the way they just ran the house really added to better health. Yes, we were on the precipice of like the no fat thing and the margarine thing. And of course, that was like our downhill spiral. But the fact that most people lived in an ingredient household, not a single serve household. Most households still did not leverage single serve like Tostitos pizza or burritos that you could nuke in the microwave or single package snack food.
It's funny you say that. The only thing that we had, like
was
you're
a
talking
single
about, not single
popcorn.
ingredient, but no, but like as far as you could throw it in an oven, and like we didn't have Hungry Mans and stuff like that.
No.
The only other thing we had, and this was a true treat, we only got it on Sundays. My father would buy it every once in a while when he went grocery shopping, was, who remembers Elio's Pizza? It came in like a rectangle and there's 3 pieces.
We got the knockoff Pin Dutch version of that.
But remember, it was like a rectangle.
I remember other kids having it.
That was because it was cheap. And we
Apparently
were not allowed
cheap enough
to,
for the Warren household
to have it a lot, but it was like once in a while on a Sunday, oh, we can have pizza. We would get it like on like, Good Friday or Friday during Lent or something like that.
So I won't share the debate we had over eggs this past week.
We're not going to talk about that.
But
we don't have enough time.
But what I was going to say is I just
That's
thought
a podcast.
I thought it was really interesting that it was like, no, you couldn't just go in and like graze all day. The refrigerator was not built for grazing then. It was built for making a recipe because it was comprised of ingredients.
Right.
The next thing was people normally just ate 3 times a day. It was really like diet culture making you do something different with like, coaches that had you eat multiple meals a day. If you went in and you ask your mom or dad, like, I'm hungry right now, they would say, you have to wait until the next meal. You have to wait until dinner or supper or whatever. Like we're not just stopping what we're doing, and that was after they say, why are you in here? Because you should be outside playing. But even just movement, people did more movement. We have a lot of things that allow us to be
Kids
more sedentary.
were outside.
You were outside a lot. People walked more. There was more effort,
Well, there were only 3 television channels.
Even like a lot of things we outsource. Like even my dad was outside, every Saturday morning was cutting the grass, like moving and cutting the grass. You did a lot of your own chores by yourself, and as opposed to now we outsource that. There was never a time when my parents were like going to pay someone else to wash the car.
Right.
There was never a time when my parents were going to pay somebody else, unless they couldn't reach it, to like cut hedges or, do stuff like that. That, if you need something laundered and it was big, you weren't even outsourcing that. You were going to the coin laundromat and you were doing that stuff yourself.
Yep. Yeah. Mommy said if you went inside, you were immediately given a chore to do.
So guess
worst
what?
thing that you could have said to my mother, there were 2 things that you never said to my mother growing up.
Starving.
Number 1, I'm starving.
Bored.
She would look at us and go, you are not starving. The people in Ethiopia are starving.
Yeah.
The second thing that if you did not ever, I don't know if my sister will probably watch this later on a repeat, you never, ever, ever said to my mother, I'm bored.
Yeah.
Because she'd be like, well, if you're bored, I've got something for you to do. And it was usually like tearing down a wall or moving rocks.
I see Dustin is in here, and it was so good seeing you guys, when we were in Indiana. I just missed you, and I'm just glad to see you. But he's saying like, you can have all of my yogurt, but even if you're somebody that doesn't really like yogurt, just eating it, regular, just plain, I like the convenience of making my own salad dressing.
Yeah, you can use it for a lot of
using
things.
It for sour cream placement, that sort of thing.
Last one is from Adriana.
Hey, Adriana.
Hello, guys. I always make your regular yogurt. I just saw the one with the coconut milk. Can you explain how to do? Please do a video.
I think you shared that last week.
With the regular milk and L-Lutery. We said we will work on that. We mentioned it in the dehydrator. The dehydrator one has really become the way we're going to start making it moving
It was
forward.
Just so easy.
Just because it is literally so much easier. No mess. I don't have to worry about it, and I can just put it in there.
Boom.
Let's get into the comments.
Gabriel said, my dad always said that is what I have kids for. Right. So we were active too. I mean, that is, you know, I'm not trying to get into anybody's business about how they parent their kids, but, you know, even we had more of a challenge asking our children to do things because like we didn't want them to be upset with us. That was not an obstacle for my parents.
Right.
My parents would look at us and be like, you know, like, I never imagined like as a child looking at my dad and being like, if you need for me to do this thing, I'm going to be upset with you. There will be a cost for me mowing the lawn or like helping with laundry.
Right.
I can't imagine that. And I have to challenge myself. There were times when I should have been more like, I really don't care about your feelings about having to do chores. This is a family and we have a lot of people to take care of and there's a lot of things to do. And if we're both working, there's no way in the world that I could get everything accomplished. And if we work together as a team on the other side of that, we will have fun. You know, we'll have more time for collective fun. But yeah.
It's like if I tell the kids to do something, they're like, well, I wasn't asking. I wasn't asking. I'm telling. Okay, so let's get into some of these comments. Dustin said, you read that one. Trish said, I'm not crazy about most yogurts, but homemade kind is like eating a bowl of thick cream. It's not tangy.
I agree. Yeah. Big difference.
Dustin said, there is a new Hellmann's Clean Avocado Oil Mayos at Sam's Club, the same size and price of Chosen Foods.
Ooh.
I'd like to see an independent test to see if it's legit.
Me
100%
too.
avocado oil. I definitely would.
And that is always the bar. You know, we talk about like when you suspect something is a little bit wonky, like I don't think I'm getting the full tester. I think they're being truthful with even the ingredients because like I'm having a weird outcome from this thing that should be clean. It does require an independent lab testing and they know it.
Right.
They know. I mean, even if a product line is like a piece of hot garbage, you have to put forth every single item in that product line. It's very costly to get those labs done.
Right.
And they know it, that the average person is not going to do it. So my advice is going to be, if you feel like I think this is too good to be true, trust that gut and just don't move forward with it, right? You don't need it.
Andy said, I like getting rid of the whey and dumping the carbs. I'm going to stick with my Instapot. So here's the thing. People ask like, what is the carb count? Unless you send it off to a lab, there's no way of truly knowing what the carb count is. Because the problem is with some recipes, okay, if you make a cake or if you make, I don't know, chili, you can figure out the carb count exactly because you take all of the ingredients that you put in there, you take the carb count for all of those ingredients,
seasonings,
and then you divide it. That'll give you the total for how many carbs are in the whole recipe. And then you divide it by what you consider a serving. It becomes different with fermented foods because the cultures are consuming.
How much did they eat?
And so when you dump out the whey, you are dumping out the sugar that they did not consume. So if there is no whey left, so like let's say you just fermented out and then when you strained it for 24 hours, like no whey comes out at all, that means that the culture's consumed all of that sugar.
Yeah. Well, I will say one of the jars that
But again, this is one of those things I will tell you that the carbs, like the benefits of a cultured yogurt outweigh the carbohydrate.
Your
it's
guts
like
need
eating liver.
So when we always make a whole bunch, you know, you're testing recipes. We don't just have 2 jars of yogurt. We have to make a whole bunch of batches to just make sure that it's going to work the same every single time. There's a lot that goes into a recipe video, right?
It resulted in 6 quarts of yogurt.
Which I'm not upset about in this case. I mean, we've had 6 quarts of other stuff where like that recipe never came to the light of day because it just didn't work, but you have a whole bunch of crap. And like, you know, Steve from Serious Keto has talked about eating the test batches when you don't want to, but you're like, I can't waste this money, right? But we did take one of the jars and go ahead and strain it. You see us do that in the video. So I'm like, I'm not putting it back in the mason jar. We just strained it and took that with us.
Pretty much no whey came out.
Oh my gosh, though. I did.
What did come out with the little bit that came out, it was
thicker.
maybe a quarter of a cup, but it literally
It
was like cream cheese and not whipped cream cheese.
No, it was like cream cheese
after one morning.
day.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say try it, especially if you like it like creamy, like Trish is talking about, and like nice and thick with no tang at all. I would say make it in the dehydrator, go ahead and put it in your strainer, and then see what you think about that.
Or use cheesecloth. Trish said, I have to figure out the best way to slow Bob down from eating all of the yogurt before I even think about getting serving. Trish, when you figure out how to do that,
he could use your tips.
Let me know, because here is my answer, and this is with anything. Hide it. I
bet, now that you've just said that, I bet there's some stuff in your college dorm drink fridge.
No,
but
that's
there's stuff
just
in the
drinks.
back. I think you're just distracting me.
That's just drinks.
Go search it.
Now, that's the other thing we were talking about, and I want to get to some comments because I know we're way late. But when we were talking about fridges, think about how big fridges have gotten over the years.
Well,
like when I was growing up, the fridge was never full.
Well,
there was always food in it, but it was never full. Now you open up our refrigerator, it's like twice the size of the fridge I grew up with. It's only two of us, and there's rarely food in there, but it's always full.
Well, they were talking about how
it's jars.
There was fast food in the 70s, but people really did treat it like a treat. Like maybe it was a Friday night family thing. They did have things like, burgers, and they had Coca-Cola and French fries, but the serving for an individual meal was much different than it is now. Like the servings of fries, the servings of soda is like huge. It would be a kid size is what would be the adult size of soda served with no refills. Right. It wasn't like, unlimited soda. And, we noticed this when we were down in the historic district, and we were like just going through like antique stores. The size of the dinner plate, your plates at home is like a platter.
Right.
Versus filling a plate from the 1970s.
Rachel would buy like 8-inch plates. I'm like, what the heck is that? Get that out of here.
Yeah. Like now it's a giant plate. So, mentally, and I know that there's been stupid diet tricks about like continue making your plate smaller and smaller and you'll fill up. But there is something to be said with that. Especially when we're eating on a platter.
Well, if your thing is always fill my plate,
you will eat what is on your plate.
Right.
So that's why we would say if you're trying to reduce the amount of like, be more intentional with like, am I actually still hungry? Make your big plate, the platter, over to the side full of burgers and put one on your plate and eat it at a time. And if you're done eating that burger, you say, okay, am I still hungry? Yes. Okay, go get another one. Come back. So you don't have to worry that you don't have access to food and feel like that there's some sort of like shortage. You have a lavish amount, but you can still test to see if you're, authentically hungry. But, you get one of those big plates of food, you're going to fill it up. And then once it's filled up, you feel like I need to eat what's on my plate.
Yeah. Chris said there's still sweet and low in the sweetener box on restaurant tables. Yeah. So people must still use it.
Yeah. Like diners and stuff. I've seen it.
Yeah. You'll see it like in places like Starbucks and things like that.
I know I see people talking about how John died on the thing. I don't want to make that, any kind of connection in that, but it's like, it certainly does not help. Daylight savings time certainly does not help.
Chris said, did we save the daylight?
Right. Well, and I mean, what was it really designed for? For like farmers that were like, needing to alter like their crops. And when they get up, hey, we're farmers. I'll tell you, we're fine. We will adjust to you as the farmer. We don't need to hold
adjust. As a matter
everyone
of fact,
hostage to this.
Someone is going to probably yell at us about this. We woke up late again because daylight savings time is stupid. We woke up late. I still had to pull comments. Rachel called Lydia, and our animals have not yet been fed.
Right.
And it is 11:15.
Oh, the pigs are pissed.
Right now, I was out. I had to go out to the RV to get a shirt. They're not out there screaming. They adjust.
Yeah.
But I purposely change up the times that I feed the pigs. Otherwise, when you go out there, you can't even walk through there because they're like, oh, I want my food. I want my food. I want my food.
Well,
So we need to do this to our body, right? They never know when they're going to eat.
So
because they are ridiculously smart animals. One pig touched the hot wire.
None of them will touch the hot wire.
Nobody will go near that hot wire. We can leave the gate open completely because one pig touched it and somehow told all the other pigs, don't go near that thing.
Ooh, that'll preach.
By the way, I leaned up against that thing with my bear skin the other day.
Maisie got it in the face.
Maisie got it. They quickly on Tabitha won't come near the pig pen anymore.
So it was interesting. So I was talking to Sarah G yesterday, and the phone automatically updates. So you went to sleep, and if you were not thinking, "Oh, it's daylight savings time tomorrow,"
I had to check your phone because I wasn't sure because your phone was like, "Don't switch."
You're fine. So she gets up and she was like, "Oh, like I must, okay, this is the time." So then she starts going about her day and happens to catch the oven clock while she's getting ready for church. And she's like, oh, I don't know why I thought it was earlier than what it was. I must have not looked at my clock right. It looks like I have plenty of time to like get ready for church. So like slow down your morning. So now your morning is like slowing down because you've got time to kill, right? So then she must have picked up her phone in the midst of like that dun 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 dun, like slowing down thing. She's like, holy crap, it's a lie. I'm not. I'm like way behind. Get back on. So it was like this talk about your glucose is like you're in fight or flight all morning because the oven, time versus your cell phone time is giving you, and if you don't automatically connect it, you might not necessarily be on daylight savings time mode. And so she's just, am I going crazy? Like what is happening right now?
Let me see that bag of Norwegian salt. I just want to see something. I'm looking because Chris put up this post and I wanted to see if they did it. It says and I've seen this, my favorite when it is organic salt. He's like, because I prefer my salt to be inorganic.
Right.
Like, because there's no such thing as organic salt. Technically, he actually
this salt was given no
organic.
Hormones.
It literally means based on carbon. I realize how that's not how it's being used or whatever, but
does it say?
Yeah, no, it does not say organic. It just says no anti-caking agents.
Maybe in Norway they're like, we're not giving that bull crap marketing junk.
Christina, daylight savings time for me. I'm a farmer. I have cattle. It doesn't help. And I'm having to adjust for a week. Yeah. And again, I don't care which one we do.
Yeah.
Do daylight, do standard, just stop changing the time.
I almost
even there, it does now mess with the animals, right?
So since you mentioned cattle, I saw the funniest sign yesterday in one of the stores. It said for every cattleman, there's a wife who works in town. Because it's so expensive, right? That you have to have another outside job. I thought that was really cute.
Dustin, we're going to get off, but Oprah went on The View saying she has an obesity gene and that's why she struggled all these years. I'm going to be nice.
Just remember that the same
there is no obesity gene. Okay. And this was Dr. Who was it that talked? Was it Dr. Westman? Dr. Westman. Wait a second.
Yeah, he did a good thing about it.
He had a great video. There is no such thing as an obesity gene. There's never been found.
So here's my one comment, because I don't want to go into it, and people have many views about, and if you've enjoyed what they've brought to the world, they've blessed people with all kinds of amazing interviews over the years. I appreciate that. However, you need to remember up until that moment where she shared this like realization
that she's been lying.
She was making a ton of money off of Weight Watchers still. This is the thing. So you were doing
She's literally been the spokesperson for Weight Watchers up until she went onto The View.
You didn't immediately say, hey guys, let's everybody pause their subscriptions because I feel like this isn't working for me like I want it to. And I think that I need something else. And I have the money to maintain this for the rest of my life, right? So everybody up until that fact, and you're seeing in live time someone say, you know what?
I've made billions of dollars off of selling you weight loss stuff, but I haven't been using it.
I haven't been using it recently. I have been using this. And I'm like, that's what upset me.
Right.
Because I'm like, okay, well, everybody for like if you've been doing this, I don't know how long she said, like the last year. So you've been doing for the last year, it hasn't been Weight Watchers. It has been the shot. And God bless, if that's what you're enjoying, like go do that thing. But however, if you're making me think everybody that signed up for your service thinking it was just a matter of the points and like, look how good she looks and she's having so much great success. And like, I want that success too. It's kind of like when we found out like the biggest loser thing was really not the whole truth.
Right.
Because I would look at that and be like, well, that's just what I need to do. Like an extreme amount of exercise. And I just need to be like really slash my calories and cut my portions. And then I'm going to start putting up 25 pounds a week weight loss like they're doing. And like, so then you have that crushing blow of like, I am still unhealthy despite whatever I do. And I'm starting to find more data to support the fact that other people can have success and I can't doing the same thing.
And again, I strongly encourage you, don't take my word for it. Dr. Westman talked about it, but they've never discovered an obesity gene. There is things with genetics where you can be more predisposed to having visceral fat, or holding on to weight, which could be a good thing. That's genetics because just of like where your ancestry comes from. Maybe you coming from an area where you had to go more without, in between, finding food and things like that. But there is no specific obesity gene that they have ever discovered. So that's kind of nonsense. And as far as I'm concerned, again, that doesn't mean a whole lot, but my personal opinion is it's her way of justifying what she's doing. Well, and I think that's what a lot of people are doing.
So if you think that and you're like, hey, I don't know what
Lolo said, if there's an obesity gene, where did I get mine from? I'm the only fat person in the family. So, it's more about the food and what we've been raised on.
Well, but two things happen when you get that information and you're like, well, there's an obesity gene out there. Two directions. Number one, I could just be like, that's probably it. I am just screwed. I'm screwed for life. And I might as well just embrace unwellness because I have just got dealt, like God screwed up and made me sick on purpose. What a mean God, right? Because he gave me the obesity gene. Like he even made this thing so that some people were just going to get like be frustrated their whole life with no way to escape it. Or it tells me, man, the only way to escape it is to commit at the very, very least a $200, and that's if you're getting the stuff online that who knows what kind of joy juice it is, right? Like I'm going to have to commit my entire family to at least $200 a month for the rest of my life because if this is a gene, I'm on medication for life.
It's literally an excuse to literally say if there is an obesity gene, then that you're basically justifying you will have to be on a GLP-1 for the rest of your life because if you stop taking it, you still have the gene. It's honestly nonsense. Listen, most of us are overweight. The bottom line is because of diet and environment. What they've been feeding us, what the government's been telling us, our environment, and just you can see it literally over the years. As our food has changed, as our environment has changed, introduction of things like 5G and computers, as more technologies come out where you can literally have computers doing things and we have iPads. As that's happened, as sugar has become more prominent, as overly processed food, the weight has gone up. And that's what this really is.
Well, and you know what?
It's like type 2 diabetes is hereditary.
Right.
It's about the food you eat.
And moms, on top of that, saying, please hit the like button. Thank you. Please hit the like button and subscribe. But my final thought is my heart grieves too for like the actresses and celebrities like out there because
who all look sick.
Well, what happens is they feel like the expectation is they have to be thinner than the population. If the whole population is on GLP-1s now and like getting to, thinner and reducing, they look and they're like, dude, I'm not thin anymore. I am no longer the ideal. And we are seeing that happen where, oh my gracious, some of the celebrities are like looking skeletal, just absolutely skeletal.
Right. We just lost like 500 subs.
It's fine.
Okay. We can continue this conversation at another point, but right now we're going to get off. We thank you guys all for joining us. Rachel will be back live on Wednesday at 10 a.m. for those members in our paid Mighty Networks group. If you're not a member of Mighty Networks, go join on the free group, even members.2crazyketos.com. If you want to support us financially, support what we're doing, get some coaching. We're starting to release like videos ahead of time and some other things in there. You get access to Rachel's Substack articles without going over to Substack. You get all that when you join the paid group. And then we will be back live on Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time.
We love you guys.
Bye.